Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast. We do this thing daily, practically speaking. With your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday, Arranged Marriage Tuesday. Today, two lucky members of our studio audiences will be wed by me. I'm just going to pick the names randomly out of a hat using their astrological charts, and we are going to marry them by the end of the show. And today, the lucky contestant is Mara. Mara's going to be married in less than 45 minutes. Mara's going to find her spouse here. Has been carefully selected by Kaustubha and myself. We're just kidding. Although every time I make the Arranged Marriage Tuesday joke, we always get messages that are like, "That's a great idea." By the time you get to 40, you get sick of the dating community, and you're just like, "Just arrange me with somebody good. Just pick somebody good. You have my best interest in mind. Just pick."
My own endeavors have failed.
Well, it can't be better than what we pick.
It can't
using
be worse.
my own mind and senses. I mean, what's the divorce rate? It's ridiculous. Just find someone you trust and let them pick for you.
Okay, Rebel, move on from the Arranged Marriage Tuesday theme now. You've played with it. You've enjoyed it enough for this week.
Would stop doing it if people didn't stop. People would stop writing in. Hey, I'm going to
announcements, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Here's an announcement. I'm going to be in Bhakti stock this weekend with Kumari and Rupa and Bhakta Justin and Krishna Das and Kelly Skinnergy with her band.
Vishwambar is going to be there. Vishwambar is going to be there, right?
No, Vishwambar can't go because this is what devotees do. Check this out. A devotee is dying, and I don't know his name.
Okay.
In Alachua, and they said, "Vishwambar, I want you to chant with me as I leave my body."
Oh.
And so Vishwambar is like, everything's canceled.
I think I know who that is.
What's his name?
I'm forgetting now, but I'll look it up.
But anyway, isn't that beautiful? I want you to chant for me. I want you to chant for me, Kaustubha.
So he canceled everything, and he's going to
canceled everything, and he just says, "I'm going to stay and chant and help this person leave his body, help this person transition."
Okay.
How beautiful is that? That's called, what's the name for that now? They have a name. There's people who do that.
Doula.
Death doulas.
Death doula.
Death doulas. That's
End
like
of
the
life.
newest.
End of life doula.
End of life doula. No, I think it's a death doula.
Well, it's probably the same thing.
It sounds better. It's a little catchier. Death doula. But it's
that sounds
beautiful.
like a metal band.
We're Death Doula from Scranton.
We're midwives of death.
This one's called Leaving My Body.
Leaving your body.
But it's a beautiful thing. And, we all want a death doula. And I want you to be my death doula, Kaustubha.
Okay.
When I die, Mara's going to place the tulsi leaf in my mouth. I'll be like, I'm not dead yet, man. I'm choking. There's too much branch on the Tulsi.
Put the whole branch.
The water
She's
in my
stuffing
mouth.
a branch. Why is she sticking a branch in his mouth? No, Mara. It's too much. I'll be there with the utility belts with the different waters.
Yeah,
I will be
want
your
you
death
with the
doula.
Ganges water in a spray bottle. Just mist me with Ganges water.
All right. And Yamuna. And
And
Radhakund.
Yeah,
I'll have a
all the
variety.
sacred waters. Just pour them on me.
Okay. Other announcements, because you're going to be at Bhakti Stock.
Bhakti
on-
stock.
with this weekend.
Yeah. So Saturday I can't do the show because I have to teach at that time. But Sunday I'll do it live from Bhakti stock. Friday.
So Sunday will be Q&A. Right. Saturday,
Sunday will
no
be
show.
Q&A.
Sunday Q&A.
Yeah, and then Friday I may go to Bhakti stock. I may be there for. I can't tell yet. I'm either going to do it here and then go right to Bhakti stock, or anyway, if you're interested, bhaktistock.com. It's in Vermont, and we're going to chill. And Kelly and the Cartels. Kelly Skinner's got a band with Srinivas. They're called Kelly and the Cartels.
The
What do you think
Kelly
about that?
Cartel. Nice.
What's that?
The Kelly Cartel.
It's different than the Kali Cartel
That's right.
from
They
the
call it Kelly
from the
Cartel.
80s
That's
and
a better
90s.
name. Tell Kelly that. That's the Kelly Cartel.
That was like the biggest drug cartel in Colombia.
Yeah. The Kelly Cartel. I like that. That's a good name. Right.
Kelly and the Cartels.
No,
Kali
the Kelly
Cartel.
Cartel. Yeah.
Ah,
Okay. Bhakti Louis wants the death duel. He signed up. He's
Bhakti
saying on the
Louis.
chat board.
I will talk to Louis by my side when I leave my
I
body.
know Dan says that I'm
I
supposed to
think about leaving
waterboard
my
you.
body on a regular basis. How I will leave my body.
Yeah. All right.
Do you?
No, not too much. You know, try to live in the present. But I do on occasion. I think in terms of like lifespan, you know, like how much is left and how I got to make the most of it.
Oh yeah. Well, there was a famous I can't remember her name. If you know it, put it on the board. A famous yoga teacher just died at 41.
Oh,
She was a Kundalini yoga teacher. What's her name? One of you Kundalini guys know it. It was completely unexpected. She slipped in a shower.
oh.
Something. Oh yeah, Guru Jagat. Her name was.
Really?
She's super popular and loved. And it was unexpected.
All right.
I'm always thinking, well, I got 10 more years. It could happen in 10 more minutes, man.
It could.
People my age, they just die. Good morning, everybody.
We got another announcement. Let's see if we can make it through these announcements
I just wanna say
before
good
like going
morning.
on forever about arranged marriages and death. We're gonna be on Wednesday night this week, the 18th, which
Yeah.
means tomorrow. Tomorrow night
Tomorrow
Yeah.
night, we're going to be in New York City.
at the Bhakti Center on the roof.
When I say we, I mean Kaustubha. I mean me, and I mean Mara. Mara is going to wear a 13-meter sari. How long is...
Kelly Becker's coming.
If me and Mara are going to drive all the way from upstate New York and then drive all the way back, you all better show up tomorrow to swing the deities.
That's right.
Yeah.
And and I'm going to give you a gift at that. You know, Dadati Prati Grinati. You're supposed to.
You're going to give
gifts.
me a gift?
I'm going to give you
Mara?
a gift. I'm not telling. No, you. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I think
Okay.
you'll like it. All right.
It's a whole thing putting on a
So-
sari, isn't it, Mara?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's like you got to be strapped in, pinned.
A lot
It's
of
like a
safety
huge,
pins.
huge piece. It's a massive piece of
Raghunath,
cloth.
you're going off on. We get it. Sorry, it's long. No.
Well, it's one thing because if you're new to doties and you
Here we
tie
go.
that
It's like
doti
you
in
can't-
properly, that thing just pops off, and then you're stuck. But you can sort of like hold it until you get to a proper place. Saris, when they come off, you're just like you're carrying like spools and spools of material around. I
Okay.
don't know how women do it. And then the
Now-
women in India,
Oh,
they bathe.
stop,
They
Raghu,
bathe in
stop.
their saris. You ever see that? It's unbelievable.
All right. Now,
Imagine
we
a
got,
wet sari.
All right. We got Jamuna Jaya saying that people are asking if you need to sign up for that. No sign up is needed for that.
No, you don't have
Cherry's
to.
coming. Bhakti Louis coming. I think Jamuna Jaya is coming. Julie
Right.
Blandina is going to come. A lot
What?
of people coming to that. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All
So
right,
be
let's
there
get the word
tomorrow.
out.
That's tomorrow at 7 p.m. But come a little early. Maybe go to Divya's beforehand. That's a nice thing to
Divya's
do.
Kitchen. Yeah, let's
Divya's
do that.
Kitchen. And I tell you, it's beautiful up on that roof. There's like no, it's sublime. It's nice and cool.
Is it going to rain? Did you
If it
check the
does, we'll
weather?
do it down the temple, but hopefully it won't.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is beautiful on that roof.
Yeah.
Rooftop swinging of the deities.
Swinging,
And you can
dancing,
tell your
chanting.
beloved, your significant other, when they say, well, where are you going tonight? Well, we're going to swing the statues of God.
Bring the.
What do you mean by
significant other.
that? We're going to put them in a swing and actually swing them.
Another
Makes no
deity's
material
coming.
sense whatsoever what we're doing tomorrow. And it's one of the most blissful things you'll ever do. Hey, Radha and Krishna, time for a little swing.
It's amazing how sublime it is.
It is. The whole thing is, it's like,
It's very simple.
It's preposterous. It's preposterous and it's wonderful.
Well, those purest sentiments can be expressed in very simple ways. You know? And
Yeah.
something about this festival, this swinging. Radha
Well, there's
Krishna
something
swing.
pleasant about pushing a child on a swing.
Sure.
So imagine
There's a
pushing
joy in
God
it,
on a
right?
swing.
There's
It's
a
the
joy
same
in it.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Everything
Oh.
of the material world has its spiritual counterpart,
True.
you know?
Are
All
you
right,
gonna
well,
you gonna unleash a nugget on us?
Oh, I got a niblet for you.
Okay.
This is really good and it has to do with everything that goes on the internet. But
But it was
before
written a
the
long
internet
time
was
ago.
before the internet was even a thing, Narada, the great sage, the mystical musician, the original kirtanwala, who travels from higher planets, the disciple of Brahma, who carries nothing but a veena and sings with it. He has a compilation of verses called the Narada Bhakti Sutras.
Mhm.
Here's what he says. One should not indulge in argumentative debate. Such argumentation leads to excessive entanglements and is never decisive. Like, even after all the debate, you still can't figure what's right and wrong.
It's true.
One should respect the revealed scriptures, right? The sacred literature, and bhakti, and discharge the duties they prescribe. Patiently enduring till the time when one can put aside material happiness, distress, desire, and false gain. One should not waste even a fraction of a second. I've actually wasted even a few seconds already today.
You
And
think?
it's not even, it's only 5 a.m. One should cultivate such good qualities as nonviolence, truthfulness, cleanliness, compassion, and faith. Those who are free from doubts should constantly worship the Supreme Lord within all of their hearts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's, in other words, we waste so much time. How do we waste time? We get in these
bickering.
debates that they're inconclusive. They're not serving anyone. We go on and on and on and on. Even if we're like, if we have some strong conviction in it, the point is like recognize, like your circle of influence, and is it just my own bitterness that's just, I'm using this to kind of cultivate that, to live it out. And then you just let go of this. You do what you can in this world. You let go. You recognize what you can't do, and you focus. And you get, you like it's saying here. Don't waste a second. All right.
You know what Narada's saying here, Kaustubha?
Yeah.
I've just assimilated all of this now.
Okay.
And I'm going to put out a little nugget, a little Narada niblet, I call it.
Okay.
He's saying, don't make a point, make a difference.
Oh.
Don't just make a point. Like, even people like debate their kids. They just lecture to their kids, but oftentimes the kids are just like, whatever. You're not making a difference in their life. How do you make a difference in their life? You become different.
Yeah,
right?
that's-
Think global,
that's
act
formal.
local. Just like live it. live what you're.
You just don't have any cliche right now.
take
Stitching
any-
time saves 9, right?
A bird of a hand beats 2 in the bush. No,
I get it, I
meaning
get it.
like it's all a very personal thing. You live with like integrity, and you try to apply those and you try to set the example, you don't have to chastise Bhakti Justin for not showing up on time. You just have to show up on time yourself. Oh, he's going to get it.
I think it's great advice. So there's something about the mood of a true yogi that we don't all get it right now. You know, we get caught up in different ideas, and this internet and this social media is like driving us all mad.
Wait till they hear what I have to say. That'll change them. No.
Yeah. So yogi, you know, it's not that they're inactive in this world or they walk away from this world. We do what we can for sure. But we also kind of realize keeping my mind pure, not engaging in useless debate, you know, trying to establish myself. It's, you know, mostly it has to do with the ego. You know, so much of it has to do with the ego. Let me say it like that.
Yeah,
so
I'm
much
right.
Of it has to do with the ego. I'm right. They're wrong. Look at me. I prove them wrong. So much time wasted. I always think of that, you know, we mentioned this when we had Chadaratma Prabhu on the show. And we're talking about the 6 Goswamis.
Oh, yeah. That I always think of that, too.
It's such a great
I
example.
always think of that. The debate thing.
Yeah.
Who's that? Jiva Goswami? He's like, I'm not going to debate. You won. You won the debate.
No. Jiva did. Yeah. It was that this Dig Vijay, you know, this like professional debater comes through Vrindavan, right? And he said, you know, they were just trying to build their reputation. So he's like, I got to defeat Rupa Goswami. If I defeat him, then, you know, my prestige goes up. So he goes to Vrindavan to defeat Rupa Goswami. And Rupa's just like, actually, you're supposed to sign a piece of paper, you know, like saying you defeated me.
Not a piece of paper that I defeated.
Nowadays, no one would ever sign the paper, even if they're soundly, you know, defeated, right?
Defeated. We're so arrogant nowadays.
We would
won't
never
even
admit.
accept defeat.
Yeah. But so he says, oh, give me the paper. I'll sign. He doesn't even engage in the debate. Let me sign that thing because I just don't have a moment to waste. I want my mind to be deeply absorbed in Krishna's pastimes. I'll sign the paper. Here you go. And then Jiva Goswami, the nephew of Rupa, when from the goodness in his love for Rupa Goswami in his heart, he hears that this arrogant debater is going around saying, you know, I've defeated Rupa Goswami, and he says, look, Rupa Goswami is my superior in every way, right? I'm nothing but you know a student of his. You defeat me. To, you know, and if you can't do that, then it's obvious that you have no ability, you know, to defeat Rupa Goswami. So he debates him and defeats him soundly. And then, but when Rupa heard about that, he wasn't like, oh, all right, you know, good one. You know, he was just like, why are you wasting your time this way? Anyone that's engaging in such nonsense, their mind isn't suitable for Vrindavan. You don't belong here. This is a place where we absorb our mind deeply in thoughts of Radha and Krishna, and you're getting into this nonsense? Get out of here. And he banned him from Vrindavan.
Yep.
And then, you know, but it's a long story how it was all, you know, eventually reconciled.
It's just a great thing about not engaging in nonsense.
That's right. Don't make a point, make a difference.
Don't make a point. Make a difference.
Starts with yourself. And a stitch in time saves 9.
A stitch in time saves 9. Check out this mug I got from Mallory. Isn't this nice?
This
it's a good
is
day
a good
for
mug.
a good day. This is a good day to have a good day.
Oh, nice. That's
Isn't that nice?
your little statement.
I always say that at the end of the show
Right.
if you're live on Zoom. I say it's a great day for a great day or a beautiful day for a beautiful day.
Right.
I don't really say good because it doesn't sound like it's like have a pretty good day.
You want to hype
for
it up more.
It's a pretty good day for a pretty good day. I'm a little bit more like it's a beautiful day. But I appreciate the cup, Mallory. Thank you. Please send your Please send all your gifts to my PO box.
Raghunath, I just want
What's
to say I know that the length of saris and death and all these things are all Bhagavatam, but thank you.
Before he cited the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya. Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, And by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances at their lotus feet. Thank you, teachers. And we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter Mara?
Chapter 21, Text 8.
21. Mara. Carrie, I'm just picturing Mara walking through the streets of New York carrying a sari that's half on her and half off her.
I'm sure Mara could handle it. It's new to her. It's foreign. But you get
It's a thing. It's a whole thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. Saris are beautiful.
Saris are
It's
very
a beautiful,
beautiful
way to dress.
Everybody looks like a princess in a sari.
Even someone working hard out, and
Women in the
field.
fields.
Yeah, they wear these saris. They look
So,
lovely.
there's always that old lady from the GEV. She's like very poor laborer. She's carrying a sickle. If you carry a sickle in America, that means you're going to kill somebody.
Nobody does
sickle.
carry a sickle in America.
What?
Nobody carries a sickle in America.
I know, they use a weed whacker.
All right, let's get to text 8. It's a beautiful section here. Cardamom Muni. I shared, in the Sage page yesterday, our newsletter, I shared an image. Did you check out the Sage page, Raghu?
I did not.
Okay. Well, there's a beautiful painting there of this scene that we're about to see, that Cardamom Muni is talking about his meditation now, how he meditated for such a long time out in the forest. And Lord Vishnu appears to him. So that's what we're about to hear about today.
Okay. Text 8.
Maybe you can read
Then
7 because it just kind of builds into
Text
the
7.
text.
During that period of penance, is text 7, the sage Kardama, by worship through bhakti, in trance, propitiated the personality of Godhead, who is the quick bestower of all blessings upon those who flee to him for protection. I think we all can say we safely feel that way. Krishna is the quick bestower upon benedictions.
He does.
Then in Satya Yuga, the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead, being pleased, showed himself to that Kardama Muni and displayed him his transcendental form, which can be understood only through the Vedas.
Okay, so now this happens many times in the Bhagavatam. Lord Vishnu appears, and we get a description of his form.
We get a taste, a deep, deep taste. Kardama Muni saw the personality of Godhead, who is free from material contamination, in his eternal form, effulgent like the sun, wearing a garland of white lotuses and water lilies. The Lord was clad in spotless yellow silk, and his lotus face was fringed with slick, dark locks of curly hair.
Imagine this, right? And first of all, he's floating down on Garuda, right, on his bird carrier. And his body is as effulgent as the sun.
Yeah, you would have never forget that.
Yeah.
Adorned with a crown and earrings, he held his characteristic conch, disc, and mace in 3 of his hands, and white lily in the 4th. He glanced about in a happy, smiling mood, whose sight captivates the hearts of all devotees. He's smiling.
He's always smiling.
He's happy. He's happy. Yeah. He's God. I like being God. He's not a mean God.
Not at all.
Yeah. A golden streak on his chest, the famous Kaustubha gem. You are the famous Kaustubha gem, suspended from his neck. He stood in the air with his lotus feet placed on the shoulders of Garuda.
He's it's almost like a surfboard. He's coming down on the bird. He's standing up.
Oh, I was thinking more like a Harley, because you're sitting on it and your feet are forward.
Oh, what does it say again? That his lotus feet were placed on the shoulders. Oh, that's possible. Could be like that.
Yeah. It's good. Truthfully, we were joking, but it's nice to really envision these things.
Yeah,
It's
there's
nice to
meant to be
envision
meditation.
Garuda. Find out descriptions of Garuda, like what color is Garuda? What does
Oh
he
man.
look like? And then get a vision of Lord Vishnu, and you can picture that. And that's a type of meditation.
You know, in
And a lot
some
of
of
that,
those extended Mahabharatas, where like not the
yeah.
abridged ones, but there's early on in the Mahabharata, there's a description of like a long description of Garuda. Have you read that before?
Mm-mm.
It's amazing. It's
This is
amazing.
this is like ideal for us. They're like windows into the spiritual world. These
Mhm.
descriptions by the acharyas, because it gives us a glimpse of like, oh, that's what it's like. Before we have that realization, we can get a glimpse from their visions, and then we can start meditating like that. They pass it on to us so we can hear it, so we read it. You can hear about what Mother Yashoda wears, how Krishna looks, what he wears, and we can capture those in our own mind. And then we can go to bed at night and we can close our eyes and we can think of Krishna. We can think of Vishnu on Garuda.
Yeah, we were taught last Wednesday. Have you figured out the walk on Wednesday for this week?
Yes, it's a surprise.
A surprise for me too.
It's a surprise for me.
Okay, but it's gonna
No,
be
I know
someone.
who it is. Mara
But
knows who it is.
well, we were discussing. We brought on for Walk on Wednesday, Nityananda Chandra, and
Yeah.
who was leading this shloka chanting group. And I in the Sage page, our newsletter, I bring up some nuggets from the previous week. So I listed 3 reasons why it's good to memorize shlokas.
Yeah.
And one is that it's a way of speaking about yoga with authority, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's just we should be able to back up what we say. It's not that I'm just making this up myself,
Sure.
right? And another reason is that it purifies the mind. There's so much chatter in there from all the garbage we're exposed to, and it's a very effective way of purifying the mind, bringing the mind to something that's satisfying and uplifting.
Internal cleanliness.
Yeah. And then a third reason is just to relish it itself, right? Let that be the source of our enjoyment, And there's so many beautiful verses, and it's so much, it's such a worthy endeavor to commit some time to memorizing some beautiful verses about the form of Krishna, the form here, like the form of Lord Vishnu. But you're right, it's a meditation. Then when you want to purify the mind, you meditate on these verses. Very famous. What's a verse from Brahma Samhita that's describing the form of the Lord, Raghu?
Venum vanantam aravinda dalaya taksham parhavatam
Parhavatang samasitang Buddha sundarangam Gandharpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham. Hit it.
Govindamari purusham damaham bhajami.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who's adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with a head decked with peacock's feathers, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
Okay, you know what,
This is where you bring
Kaustubha?
your mind. Yeah.
Tonight we're going to do some chanting of mantras, descriptions of Lord Krishna, because tonight at 8:30 is Sweet Baby Krishna.
That's a late night, Sweet Baby Krishna, 8:30.
We're getting crazy. We stay up late to glorify Krishna. By the way, another thing, me and I like to listen to as like background music.
Mhm.
Like when I'm driving, I just put it up on the board. Vishnu Sahasranam, 1,000
Sure.
names of Vishnu. Just go right to YouTube right now. Maybe put up that link, Mara.
MS
Or
Shubha
somebody beat
Lakshmi.
Mara to it. Where's Nancy R? Trying to Nancy R. Beat her to the gig.
Is that the MS Shubha Lakshmi version you go for?
Yes, it is so good.
She's the best.
It is so good. And it's just like the chanting. First of all, it's this introduction of 1,000 names of Vishnu. It's also from the Mahabharata. That's a good trivia question. Who actually says it? Somebody
The
put that up on the
Mahabharata?
board. Who
Vishnu
says the
Sahasranam?
1,000 names of Vishnu? Is it Yudhisthira? Is it Bhishma?
I don't
But
know.
anyway, it's such this beautiful chanting, and it just goes on forever. It's like these are the things you want in your background music of your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful mantras.
Yeah.
Oh, here's some. Bhakti Chris. but from Costa Rica said, Agni then replied, "My king, this is Garuda, the son of Kashyapa and Vinata. He is destined to be the king of the birds. His father granted him a boon to his mother."
He's quoting, in other words, I was saying the Mahabharata
Okay, I
describes the
get it.
form of Garuda.
Dinanath says, Bhishma says it, I believe, which is another way of saying Bhishma says it, I'm speculating. Thank you, Dinanath Prabhu, for that conclusive answer. Okay.
All right.
Let's continue on, my friend.
Yeah. Text
When
12.
Kardama Muni actually realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person, he was greatly satisfied because his transcendental desire was fulfilled. He fell on the ground with his head bowed to offer obeisances until the lotus feet of the Lord. His heart naturally full of love of God, with his folded hands, he satisfied the Lord with his prayers.
This is really beautiful verse here, right? The fulfillment of his meditation was achieved here when the Lord in his personal form appeared before him. And some of the language, there's a term here, Priti Svabhavatma. Right, you see that, Raghu? Priti Svabhava Atma. Svabhava means, like our own natural state, our own constitutional state, our innate, inherent disposition, right? Like what we're made of, right?
Yeah.
Why are you smiling? You're reading the chat board. I'm talking about it.
Because yesterday, me and Kaustubha had this conversation how
we?
everybody in the Kirtan community uses the word bhava. Hey, it's
Okay.
the bhav. I'm in the bhav. I'm
Okay.
feeling the bhav. What is the bhav? I don't know. I thought
Well,
you knew
here's
what
the
the
bhav.
bhav was.
That's right. Here's the bhav. Right. Yeah.
Here's
Like what I said. Like, get into the bhav, man.
in the
Okay.
bhav.
This
Mara,
is
look
the
at
bhav.
Mara sitting there. She's with her headphones on. She's like totally in the bhav.
So
It's
this is
such
the
a
bhav.
Kirtan word.
Yeah. So
Feeling the bhav.
Sva means self, right? And bhava means, you could say it's one's, emotion here, but svabhava, when we say svabhava, it means that inherent disposition that we have, right? What
Yeah.
is our true nature underneath it all? So here it says priti svabhava atma, right? Atma means the self. And so priti means love, right?
It means love.
So it's saying here that through this practice of bhakti that Kardama was performing through meditation, sitting alone in the forest, he had a vision of Lord Vishnu, and in that moment, he says his heart naturally full of love for God, naturally full of love, right? It's not something that was artificial or external, but it's the nature of his heart, right? His heart naturally full of love of God. With folded hands, he satisfied the Lord with prayer. So we're going to hear those prayers coming up, but let's really focus on this idea. There's a great nature analogy that's commonly used, been handed down, in tradition for a long time. Honestly, I don't know the origin of it. I haven't been able to find a Shastric origin for it, but it's
So,
a
before
nice
you go
analogy.
on with this, can we get the Sanskrit glossary goodie for bhava? What actually does bhava mean?
Well,
How would you describe it?
Well, I can look it up in the Sanskrit dictionary. It's used in different ways, but bhava commonly, it refers to our emotion.
Our emotion,
Yeah, but
a mood or emotion or a transcendental emotion.
Yeah, transcendental emotion. And
Sanskrit
so,
glossary
but when
goodie.
we use the term svabhava, it means that natural emotional state of who we are underneath it all, right? So here we have it translated that way. Svabhava, his heart naturally full of love of God, right? So what was underneath all along through his yoga practice became manifest externally. Now the nature analogy that I was speaking about was that of the musk deer, right? You know that one?
Of the what?
Musk deer.
Oh, yes. Oh, this is a good analogy. I like this one. Go.
Well, there's a deer that exists in the mountainous regions of Asia. And so like in the Himalaya mountains, you'll find these deer. And it's a special kind of deer. It's got a little bit of a different form. It's a little smaller than like the deers we see here.
Yeah, a
in the
little
States.
peculiar looking deer. They're not
peculiar.
like your white-tailed deers.
Yeah, it's got little tusks actually too. But it's from a gland within that deer where the aroma musk comes from, and which is a very enchanting aroma. And so at the right time when that aroma becomes manifest, it said that the aroma is actually like intoxicating, and when the deer smells it, the deer itself becomes intoxicated, becomes captivated by that aroma and begins to run through the forest searching for it. Where's the source? Where's it coming from? I got to find out where that's coming from. It's sniffing all around. It's chasing. It'll chase that aroma until it becomes exhausted and even collapses, not realizing the bitter irony, right? That aroma was coming from within it all along. And so the yogi said that that's more or less what we're all doing in this world, right? We're searching for happiness, right? We're looking for it here. We're looking for it there. We're running into the bars, into the clubs, into the offices, into the apartments, into the parks, and we're just all running around, searching for happiness, not realizing that happiness is our svabhava, right? It's within us. That it's something that's part of our very nature. It's within. It doesn't come from anything without. And we have to start to look within to really uncover it. Now, that's what was uncovered here through the practice of bhakti yoga by Kardama Muni, and now he's experiencing that. His heart is full of, but it's hard, here it's saying his heart was full of love, right? Priti svabhava, that love is part of his nature, and that's something that's it's talked about in many places, particularly in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's some beautiful verses that describe that. When Sri Chaitanya, these are like to lay out the Chaitanya Charitamrita is you could say it's a biography of Sri Chaitanya, right? Who's avatar of Krishna, the Yuga avatar of Krishna, right?
Yeah.
He comes to teach the Yuga for this age, which is
Harinam.
Harinam, right? Sankirtan, right? Chanting the holy names congregationally. So externally he's teaching that, but internally he's relishing the deepest esoteric moods of divine love through bhakti. And to explain, so although it's a biography, it features really important conversations that he has with very important people. And through those conversations, we get, it's kind of like lays out the theology, like a very refined form of Vaishnava or bhakti theology. And so he speaks with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, right? Who was like a super learned, brilliant philosopher, but hadn't yet developed bhakti, hadn't developed love for God. And he speaks with Ramananda Roy, right? Who was like a very deep, advanced bhakti, spiritualist, about the higher and higher levels of devotion, climbing up a ladder. Very amazing conversation. He speaks with Rupa Goswami. He speaks with Sanatana Goswami. He speaks with Prakashananda Saraswati, who's like the leader of the impersonalist sannyasis, right? So all these conversations, there's so much to learn through them. But in the Madhya Lila, in the middle part of that biography, he speaks with Sanatana Goswami, and so many important teachings come out. And it begins with Sanatana Goswami was like this. He was like an incredibly qualified man, right, in government. But also incredibly learned and deep spiritually. And he was working for the Nawab, was it the Nawab?
The Nawab.
The Nawab, yeah, who was like
They
the
were like
Muslim
the
leader.
Muslim colonists,
Yeah.
sort of like.
Well, he was like the head of it. Like he was like the king.
They came in. It's like when a small amount of people, like we did it to Native Americans, you come over. Although we just decimated them, they sort of like decimated a bunch of them and kept the higher classes as their servants. So they were sort of like indentured servants, but because they're so very qualified, they let them give them a little more freedom and let them do some important work on behalf of their rule. This was like India in the 1400s under the Mughals.
So he was so into bhakti that and it was dangerous for him to leave the service of that Nawab, but he kind of ran away.
They kill you. They kill you.
Yeah, he was thrown in jail actually, but he managed to get out of jail, and then he went and he found Sri Chaitanya. And it's the conversation. That whole meeting is a very beautiful meeting, and but it opens with Sanatana Goswami, who's like, he's just, it's hard for us to imagine such a qualified man. Like a really learned, really experienced man of the world. But when he sees Sri Chaitanya, he bows down, right? And then he asks this question, he more or less, he says, who am I? Like really deep down, I don't even know who I am. Instruct me, help me understand the nature of the self, help me understand who I really am. And Sri Chaitanya begins by saying, famous verse, Jivera Svarupa Hoy, right? Here's the word, or Swabhava, here's Svarupa, like the form of the self.
Original form.
Yeah, Jivera
Yes.
of the jiva, of the soul. Jivera Svarupa Hoy, Krishnara Nityadas. And then it says, Krishnara Tatashta Shakti, Bheda Bhed Prakash. That the living entity's constitutional position is the eternal servant of Krishna, or the servant of God. By nature, we're connected to that root, right? Like the leaf serves the tree, we serve God. And that is our Svarupa, or our Svabhava, naturally. And then it says, if it is the living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna, because they are the marginal energy of Krishna, and a manifestation simultaneously one with and different from God, like a molecular particle of sunshine or fire.
Ooh.
Right. So this is a verse that's it's there to help us understand who I am. Right. By nature, I'm like a leaf to the root, like a leaf to the tree. By nature, I'm connected, and I serve, and I'm nourished by my source, by God. And yeah.
I was just going to say, this is, if you're new to the show and you're hearing about like this Bhakti philosophy, this Sanatan Dharma, this is sort of like, I take this like the sounding board, like the gold standard for what I hear other philosophies about. When we're trying to, in this world, where we're trying to find an identity, a tribe, a group, a pack to run with, find out who I am. I've never heard anything better than this. That what am I? It's got nothing to do with my body, my race, my gender. What we end up doing, Kaustubha, is we make little circles. Okay, these are my people. It's my political circle, or it's my racial
Family.
circle. Everybody's got one. The Jews call it my tribe. We do it with our music scene. This is my music group. This is my family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or this is my my vegetarian vegan community. And we draw circles. The only problem with the circle is there's somebody outside that circle. What is the circle that goes around all living beings? And Lord Chaitanya make it very, very succinct. That's why it's the essence of Vedic teachings. The essence of this conception is that everybody is within that circle. They are spiritual beings. And because even if we make everything great with humans, okay, now there's no more racism. Now there's just respect towards all humans. We all treat each other with great dignity. Well, what about the animals? Well, they're not in our circle. Right? They're citizens too, right? What about the plants? We have to extend that circle to all living beings. And when we do that, then we can finally find this essential principle. And we realize that the real thing that we're hating are these old, the old pesticides of the soul. The pesticides are kama, krodha, lobha, moga, lust, greed, anger, envy, hate. What do we hate? We hate hate. We hate hate. It covers the soul. It cheats me out of my real vision. Huh?
Yeah. Did you mean parasites or pesticides?
Pesticides.
Okay.
The inorganic matter of the soul. The soul is born here to love. That makes sense. It's born here to love. I'm here to love. I'm here to love. And it gets misconstrued through a filter of thinking I'm a body. And therefore I think, well, I'm a guy, I gotta love a girl, or I'm a guy, I gotta love a guy, whatever it is, or I'm a guy, I gotta love my home, or I'm a guy, I want to love things of this world to fulfill that God-shaped hole in my heart. The problem is it's God-shaped. It's not home-shaped. Or even the closest thing I get to my family. Everyone thinks, what the most important thing is my family. I know, but even your family, you don't own. So you can love, but you can't replace God with even family. Even with a dog, you can't replace God with a dog. You can love a dog in one sense. You can love your family, of course, but you can't let them be your God. Let God be your God. And that is what we are eternally underneath all the layers of costumes, underneath all the clubs I've joined, underneath my political party, I'm here to give love and ultimately be detached because I can't possess anything. Feather drop.
Feather drop.
Feather drop.
Drop.
Don't forget about the feather.
Okay, nice. There's another very important verse that comes out in this conversation between Sanatana Goswami and Sri Chaitanya, and that relates to this idea of the Svabhava, and that is Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunaya Shravanadi Shudichite Karya Dai. We got to this yesterday. We touched on it, but it's coming out more here because it used that term Svabhava, right? But here it says Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. That Krishna Prema, right? This is the goal of all yoga, is actually prema, pure love of God.
Pure ecstatic love.
Pure ecstatic love.
Walking around like what must that be like? Does that change? Are you always smiling?
It's what we can read about it. It's not always. If you read about the gopis, they're not always smiling. Something it manifests in all different, a whole variety of bhavas, a whole variety of emotions.
There we go.
Right? Yeah, and
because love is nuanced.
Love is nuanced.
Like if your child is in danger and you're like, be careful. That's love also. So there's a feeling, all these different. This is all spoken about in the Nectar of Devotion, which is a really, the first half of Nectar of Devotion is really sort of interesting, practical, peculiar, but sort of practical things on bhakti. The whole second part of the Nectar of Devotion, it's way out there.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but actually there's another book. What is it? The Ujjvala Nilamani, which is it's kind of just like the continuation of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is translated as the Nectar Devotion, but it's even the more esoteric part. So they kind of separate it and put it in another book. So yeah, It does get esoteric.
I never read it.
Yeah. Well,
never read
that.
that.
I think we're better off sticking with the Nectar Devotion. Keep it simple. But what this verse is saying, right? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. That Krishna Prema is Nitya Siddha. It's eternally established. It's our Svabhava. It's who we are, right? And it says sadhya. Sadhya is a word that it relates to the word sadhana, right? That you do your sadhana, you do your practice to achieve the sadhana, the goal of the sadhya, the goal of the practice. Right?
Put that on the board. That's a Sanskrit glossary goodie. Sadhya.
Sadhya.
Say it again.
Sadhya.
Sadhya.
Yeah. So sadhya, it says sadhya kabunaya. It's kabu refers to time. That it's kabunaya. It's not gained at some particular time, but it's nitya siddha. It's eternally established as our svabhava, right? It's who we are. It's not. So in other words, that love of God isn't something foreign to us or artificial. It's not to be gained from anything external. It is our very nature. And then the second line of this verse, really important. Shravanadi, right? Shravanadi. So shravana means
hearing.
So shravanadi means beginning with hearing. And so when we hear that, we can understand this is being spoken to people who are familiar with Bhagavatam, right? Shravanam, hearing, kirtanam, chanting. It means that I understand that this is referring to all the different practices, through the different practices of bhakti that begin with hearing, right? Hearing, chanting, remembering, like that, right? Yeah. Shravana, Kirtana, Vishnu, Smarna, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakimatman, Vedanam. That this verse is, by saying Shravanadi, it means all those practices of bhakti. So it says, Shravanadi Shuddha that the chitta, the heart, or you could say the mind becomes shuddha, becomes purified. And then karya udaya, then there's an awakening that takes place, right? So that is my nature, love of God, and through that love for every living entity is within me. It's my nature. It's not something that I get from any external source. It's who I am.
Know what?
It's my svabhava, swarupa. But that it's sitting there waiting to be awakened. And what we're doing every morning here by hearing Bhagavatam, what we're doing if we pick up some beads or step in a kirtan and chant, is the process that awakens the true nature that is already there within us, or as us.
It's like the person who's temporarily blind, or in my case, I can't see so well as I'm getting older. It's hard for me to see. And then someone gives you turns on some light, or gives you some glasses, and then, oh, wow, that's what it says. That's what the ingredients are. That's what you look like. Can you imagine what it must be like to have vision when you haven't had vision? This is what we're doing. We're like, we see the world in a whole new way. And as we enter into our bhakti practice, more and more light gets shined. You see the world in a different way. It's just like the prayer. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, right?
Yeah.
I was born in the darkness of ignorance. And teachers come into our life, and teachers come through the pages of the Bhagavatam, and they shine light on my dark world. What was my dark world? This guy's my enemy. This guy's a jerk. She did this to me. I'm walking around with resentment, anger, frustration, bitterness in my heart, friends and enemies, trying to figure out how to have fun. It's a type of ignorance that I'm covered in. And it's like wearing layers and layers of clothing or putting blankets and blankets over my head. And sometimes even under a blanket, there's a little bit of light comes in too. You can still see some bright light. And it's like we're slowly peeling off these layers. It works. It changes you. It's real. All this is real. As crazy as it sounds, we're going to swing the deities. It's real. It really affects us.
It's
it
so
works.
True. And I love where you're going, like the vision that you develop, because the Bhagavad-gita is also often going to do that. It's going to talk the realization that you get, and then the and then the vision that you get from that. How you see the world. So all of this we're hearing now about how Kardama Muni it was bhakti yoga, but it was done like in that Ashtanga yoga kind of context, right? Like he's out in the forest and he's meditating alone. And so the 6th chapter talks about the realizations that one can derive through this difficult process. But he had the time, right? He had that 10,000 years. He went for it. He was all alone. He was in a beautiful setting out there in the forest. But let's read Bhagavad-gita, beginning chapter 6, text 24, and hear about the realization that one gets through yoga, and then the vision that one gets through yoga. And this is the vision that we're really trying to cultivate, that Raghu's talking about, all right? So text
You're going to read
24.
chapter 6?
Chapter 6, text
great.
24. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires, all the idea that I'm going to get something externally that's going to give me happiness and satisfaction, right? So one should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation. It's just something in the mind that's not real. And thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self.
What number is that one? 628?
26.
626. From wherever the mind wanders due to its unsteady and flickering nature, one must withdraw it and draw it back under the control of the self. What a great verse.
Yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram tatastato nayam yaitad atmanyeva vashamnayat. Yeah. It's yato, wherever, it's wandering all over the place. From yato. But then tatastato. But this is therefore one has to do this. So, okay. Text 27. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me. Now, this is Krishna speaking, right?
Kaustubha, don't you see what's going on? It's everything that you said yesterday. I was saying yesterday.
Yeah.
We've all culturally appropriated the yoga system and made it into our own thing. And we've kicked Vishnu out of the party. We're going to have a big party. Use Vishnu's resources, but Vishnu's not invited. Lord Vishnu's not invited to this party. It's like having a birth. We've taken everything. Well, here's meditation, but not Vishnu. Here's kirtan, but no Vishnu. Here's yoga, but no Vishnu. You cannot invite Vishnu to yoga. Come on, people. That's cultural appropriation at its best. You got to invite Vishnu.
That's right.
Krishna is called Yogeshwar. He is the master of the yogis. Come on.
Don't kick him out.
Don't kick him out. You can't have Bhagavad-gita in our yoga class. Why not? You can't read. Come on.
Okay, so text 27 said, the yogis whose
I thought you were going to go with that. I thought you were going to roll with me with that.
Well, I am, by reading the verses, actually.
Okay.
Because these are going to establish your point. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. That's Svabhava, that's underneath. He is beyond the mode of passion. They realize their qualitative identity with the Supreme. That's that rays of the sun and sun, like spark of fire and the fire, qualitatively one with, not quantitatively, but we're made of the energy of God. And thus they are freed from all reactions to past deeds. It burns up your bad karma. Right? Then text 28. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness and transcendental loving service to the Lord. Now comes the vision, right? The vision you're talking about, how we see the world, not in these little circles.
Yeah, bigger circles.
Fully expanded. Yeah, fully expanded.
Big circles.
A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, a self-realized person sees me, the Supreme Lord, everywhere. And then, that famous verse, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Feather drop.
Let's hear this again. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me,
I'm
never lost to him.
Nor are they ever lost to me.
How beautiful is that verse?
That's a very beautiful verse.
Kaustubha's not making this up. He's reading the Bhagavad-gita. We're not saying, okay, look, I know you meditate, now put Krishna in there. He's not making that up. He's telling you to do it.
Yeah.
We, over the years, have just cut Krishna and Vishnu out of the party. It's their party. You can't kick Krishna out of the party. You can't kick Krishna out of the yoga class. Years after, I did a teacher training, a regular teacher training, even though I was doing yoga, I felt like I'm going to teach yoga. I should do a teacher training. And so I went to a teacher training, and they were like, the whole philosophy part was so lame. It was so lame. After you like lived in a temple for so long and hear philosophy on a regular basis, and then you hear this, 48-year-old dancer explain yoga philosophy. No offense to the 48-year-old dancers out there. But anyway, it was just like, we're going to sit here and we're going to meditate in a flame. I was like, why are we meditating in a flame? Where did that come from? Who kicked God out of the party and stuck a candle in God's place? The Bhagavad-gita is not a conversation between Arjuna and a candle. Come on.
That's the takeaway for today. Thank you. That's a good one. Well done.
All I'm saying is somewhere down the line, Krishna got kicked off and was replaced with a flame.
And the shame is that we're hearing a text like this. It says Priti Svabhavatma. This is what's in our heart. And because we're not getting the clear information, we're searching for it everywhere else. We're searching for it in everything that's other shaped, right? Dog shaped, chocolate shaped, boyfriend or girlfriend shaped, a new
travel
shaped,
adventure travel shaped.
Yeah. But what's actually in our heart is that Krishna prema.
By the way, it's okay to love your dog or your pets. I have a dog. I have a lot of pets. I have a family. I love them all. It's just in perspective. If you treat them as your God, you're going to be let down because only God can be your God. That's all.
And it's kind of like watering the leaf.
This makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. when you actually love God, then you're going to love every dog, not just your dog. Right?
Yeah. You'll pet other dogs.
That's our takeaway for today. Mara, do we have any other takeaways?
We do
have
have
dogs.
Pet many dogs. Don't make a point, make a difference.
Right. Yeah.
Our hearts are naturally full of love of God.
Okay.
Extend the circle to all living beings.
Mm-hmm.
We're like musk deer running around chasing what is already within.
Mm-hmm. By the way, musk is kasturi. Sometimes you hear Krishna, kasturi. That's the Hindi word, kasturi. You know what I'm talking about?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thought I'd share that.
The soul is born to love.
Yeah, I love that. That is something. That's a song.
Yeah.
Born to run, born to lose. Born to love.
Born to run, born to lose. Maybe for Laura Marco's.
People keep getting the songs wrong.
You got to invite Krishna. It's his party.
Right.
Only God can be your God. And the Gita is not a convo between Arjuna and a candle.
I like
Feather
that.
drop.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good day for a good day. Thanks everybody for joining us. Sweet baby Krishna tonight at 8:30. We're We're going to sing some songs. We're going to chant some prayers. We're going to glorify Krishna and tell some Krishna pastimes. 8:30 for Patreon members. If you're not a Patreon member, hey, what the heck? Go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. Support this little boat floating. Add your little drop of water to this boat floating. We appreciate it. Bhakti Stock is this weekend. If you want to check that out, we're going to go there and sing, do some yoga, camp out in the woods in Vermont. But Wednesday, tomorrow night, we are going to be in New York City. Mara, myself, Kaustubha, Bhakta Justin is coming. He will be dancing and singing.
Okay.
Pressure's on
the
Bhakta
roof.
Justin.
Everyone likes a roof party, right? This is what you
Everybody
do.
likes a roof
Krishna in
party.
the center.
Everybody
But you,
likes a
but you
party.
bring Krishna to the party. You don't kick him out.
You got to bring Krishna to the party. Krishna we'll also have flames. We'll also have flames you can worship for those who don't want to worship Krishna but prefer to worship. You could put a flame on the swing and just swing the flame. Oh, the flames.